go a little bit. So that'll be okay then. All right. Adi or Crislove, how will you it's only family that call Hadi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how will you introduce yourself to the world and to people that are watching at this moment?
Okay, well, I'm Crislove or Igeleke. My parents, Joshua and Christy Igeleke, they originally from Nigeria. They came to Las Vegas in '81, and that's where I was born and raised. So I went to school here from the time I was in high school. And when I left for college was when I went to Lincoln University, and that was the first HBCU, the first historically Black college university here in the States. A notable alumni that actually went there was the first president of Nigeria, so Azikiwe, as well as the first president of Ghana and the first African-American Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall. So I went there, I studied political science. After that, I went to Capitol Hill for a short period, and I worked with the former Senate Majority Leader, Senator Reid. And then I came back to Las Vegas, and that's when I went to law school, and I've been practicing law since 2015. When I graduated, I started working with Nevada Legal Services, and then I moved on to a civil firm, which is a private practice, and now I'm at the city attorney's office for the city of Las Vegas.
Oh, we kind of lost her voice. I can hear.
By phone. You want me to join by audio? Is that what's better?
Yeah, we kind of lost your voice somehow, so I don't know why. But yes, I don't know if you can still hear me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So you were talking about how your parent got here and your school, your education background, where you the high school and the law school you went to. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I think we lost you after that, shortly after that.
Okay. So are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to enter the meeting ID from the phone. Maybe that'll be a better connection. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, is the audio better now?
Oh, absolutely. That's good now.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, I was saying after I finished high school here in Las Vegas, I left to college at Lincoln University. And there I was saying there were some other alumni that went there were the first president of Nigeria, who was Azikiwe, as well as the first president of Ghana and the first Black or African-American Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall, which several people know here. But I went to Lincoln after finishing school there. I went to Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., and I worked with Senator Reid for a small period of time. He was then the former majority leader. And then I came back to Las Vegas, and I've been here since. I went to the William S. Boyd School of Law. And after finishing law school in 2015, I started working for Nevada Legal Services. So that's a nonprofit here, working with nonprofits and small business owners to get started, doing different contract work and doing a lot of their community outreach type of things. After that, I went into private practice, and that was my prior firm where I was for 3.5 years doing civil litigation. And just recently, the past 2 months, I've now joined the city of Las Vegas. They're the city attorney's office, and that's where I'm currently at.
Wow. You have a lot of experience that which I really cherish, and I believe that will definitely help other people around the world. Can you please tell us some of the things some of your challenges, before getting to this level that you are? Has it been like that has been your passion, that one day you want to be an attorney right from young age, or is as a result of something that came about, or you have something different before you arrive at this point?
Yeah, so this was something I always wanted to do from a young age, and I think that the important factor was the household that I was brought up in. My parents, we came from a Christian household, and we've just always been taught that, whatever it is that you want to do, have faith, pray about it, and work hard, right? So being able to do my portion, doing my part, but always still having that confidence and that faith that I would be able to get there. Because definitely, the journey's never easy. There's always going to be challenges that arise. It's a long process. And also coming from, the background that I came from, not having family members in the field, it could be a little bit intimidating or difficult when you're first going to college or, pursuing different things where you don't really have people that have done that before you. So I would just say that I think that was the most important thing. Even though I planned on being an attorney from the time I was a child, there are many things about it that I didn't really realize until starting the process.
Okay, so what you then? How was the school being? You know, is there anybody in your family that kind of motivated you to get into that kind of level, or some would say, I want to get into this profession because there is a problem that I have that I have in the family,
Mm-hmm.
so that they will be able to really want to correct it. Or somebody want to be a neurologist because there is a problem in the family, and which has a lot of side effect on them. And that's why, okay, if I be a
Mm-hmm.
neurologist, I will be able to rescue some other people that will have that same problem. Is there something like that in your own area you decided, or you just want to make a difference, or you just to make a uh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the core has been always just wanting to help people. And I think my dad, I know he wanted to go to law school at one point in time. He went to University of Nevada, Las Vegas, which is the law school where I went to. He attended for undergrad. But at that time, him raising 6 children, there was not a law school here in Las Vegas. So I know for him, that wasn't something he was able to pursue. But he did have a lot of, books around the house um, about, the practice of law. And I think by just kind of seeing that and seeing how, watching TV shows and seeing how people were able to advocate for others who didn't necessarily have a voice, that was something that always intrigued me. Um, and then, of course, I had my siblings, who went out to college when I was younger and I was in, elementary school. I remember my brother Godwin first leaving to college, and then John, and later Josh. So those things, when I seen them going on to college, it was just something I always kind of wanted to do as well. So it was never really a fear of doing it. I just had to figure out what that process was. But I would definitely say just, with my parents and their involvement with the church and just different programs that they did as, uh, as a child in the house, I realized that just helping people was something that I enjoyed doing, and being able to give back was something that was fulfilling.
Yeah, as a deputy, I was reading some of your profile, and I realized you have experience in taking up the challenge, in being an advocate for children who are in needs. So, what are the things that are kind of get you to that level to be a voice for the children that are in need?
So I would say, just the community that I come from, Las Vegas, there's definitely, even though it's, a bright city, a lot of lights, a lot of things that people come here for in regards to entertainment, there's also, issues with the education system and with children and with the foster care system. So I was always kind of aware of that. And during my time in college, I did some tutoring and mentorship programs. And during that time, I was helping students both that were failing academically in college and they were on probation, potentially able to be, removed from the school if they didn't bring their grades up. So working with those students, as well as students over the summer who were in high school, who, as I mentioned, didn't necessarily have any people in their family who went on to pursue higher education. So working with some of those students and kind of realizing some of the challenges and how that ties into the motivation that people have, right? If they're going to pursue things beyond high school, it typically stems from something that they're thinking about when they're a child. And for so many children, realizing that there were these barriers. I enjoyed working with youth from that experience. So when I came back to Las Vegas, I actually taught for 2 years before going to law school. And it was in that experience as well, teaching, when I realized, a lot of these kids were in the classrooms. You would see people sleeping, but not necessarily because they don't care to be there, but because they're also working, right? Or they're helping their family raise children, or some of them are homeless. So that's kind of when I got a little bit intrigued into working with youth, especially youth in the foster care system. So during my time in law school, they had a program which was known as educational surrogate parent. And through that, I was able to be assigned essentially parental rights in regards to education for students that were in foster care systems. And so what this allowed me to do was go into the schools for students who had intellectual disabilities.
We lost your voice again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was able to help these students that were in foster care go into the schools to help them get the resources that they needed, the tools that they needed if they were suffering with any type of intellectual disabilities or any other impairments that they may have had. And because parents are typically the ones that go and make these requests in schools, when you have certain foster children who are living in a household of various foster children, you don't have a parent that's going to go out and advocate on their behalf. So that kind of just helped me get in and help these students propel, into that next stage. As I mentioned, if you don't have anyone that's there kind of holding you accountable, making sure that you're doing your homework, making sure that you're signing up for programs, then they don't typically care, right? So I think by having these programs in place and being able to assist those students that were in those systems, providing some sort of stability was helpful in getting them to actually want to go on to college or want to do something more than just graduate or just try to get their degrees or their diplomas in high school.
So when you look at it, children with behavioral problem, there are some times when you have we have children with that kind of behavioral problem. Maybe they're being bullied in school, so that makes them to get into trouble. So from there, there are some that their career, they couldn't fit into good work anymore because of bad record that they have. So what kind of assistance is out there for children with behavior problem where they've been to juvenile and or some corrected, committed crime that is kind of a felony that now they can't fit into the society to actually get a better life, So is there anything that can be seen as a second chance for those ones?
Yes, absolutely. Something I did notice as well during those times when I was working with the kids that had special needs, there a lot of times were people who may have behaved a certain way, and it was labeled as, behavioral issues, or they would get suspended or RPC'd or have just certain disciplinary action taken because the actual challenges that they were facing weren't being addressed. So a lot of times those will be wrong labels as behavior problems, but they're really just, intellectual problems or something where they need assistance in that regard. For those situations, I would always say recommend, counselors and therapists and having someone to work with those children, because that way they can get the resources at a young age to help them and prevent them from later, having to be incarcerated or things of that nature. Another thing that I worked on when I was at Nevada Legal Services, which many states also have right now, is record sealing processes. And through record sealing programs, after individuals have served their time, whether it be, community service or actual jail time, and they wait a certain wait period, depending on what the state requirements are, they do become eligible to have those records sealed. And from doing that program, we have seen that there have been a lot of people who may have committed crimes, whether they were younger, whatever the case might have been, after time has gone by, those things on their records were still prohibiting them from solidifying employment or getting stable housing opportunities. And then by having those records sealed, they were able to then continue to do better and grow. So those opportunities are available. Typically, you can go to legal aid centers within whichever state that you're in, and they'll have the resources to kind of help you with getting that process done. And they also have pro bono attorneys that will be able to file those petitions for you as well.
So there's actually there's actually opportunity for people, or second chance for people, no matter how bad your your either your crime could be, they can still get better and being integrated into the society back, right?
Yes, for the most part. So there is going to be a nuance. So for like Nevada here, there are certain crimes that can't be sealed. And those are typically if it's any type of sexual crime with children. If you have more than 3 DUIs, that's going to be something, and certain types of felonies. But aside from that, there are certain felonies and there's those type of things that you can still have sealed. And then depending on the state, that's where it's going to vary as far as how long you have to wait before they can be sealed or what type of crimes are eligible to be sealed as well.
Okay. So then when we look at that kind of life, um, I was watching a one doctor program, one is it doctor program or court program one time, and the guy said if it's not because of second chance that it was given from the court, yeah, it wouldn't have been a judge today. So I kind of see when we look at the way some people are. What will you say about the bullying in school? How do we cut down? How do we change the way school children are being bullied in school, and what can they do in order to rectify that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of your question.
The question about when children are bullied in school. So what can we do as parent? What can we do you as an attorney to make sure uh, children are not being, we eradicate or we reduce the level of the way children are being bullied in school.
Mm-hmm. So that's an important question. And I know that now with social media on the rise, you're seeing a lot more of that even online, right? With Facebook, social media, Instagram, things like that. But I think the best way for parents to help with that, it would be just communicating, talking with the children, seeing how their day was and seeing what those signs are, because a lot of times, unfortunately, you do have situations that go from bullying into, suicide or other situations with children. So I think it's important just as family members, whether it be parents, uncles, aunts, just always communicating with the children, making sure that you're, finding out how things are going, even communicating with the school and the staff. And I think it's going to be important to just hold the administrators accountable, when there's certain things that are going on that you don't feel comfortable with. A lot of times parents think they just kind of have to ignore it and do what they can at home, but you have that voice and you need to go in and advocate in those situations. And there are offered opportunities where you can also be part of the school board, depending on if it's a charter school or what type of school format they have. There are opportunities for parents to just get more engaged with the school. And in those avenues, you can assist with creating programs or just providing different resources where students can report, whether there's opportunities for them to do that voluntarily or ways that they can do that where they're anonymous and they don't have to worry about, people noticing them or knowing their name. Different clubs and programs where they can, build friendships and safe or healthy relationships with other people at their schools is also another healthier option that you have as well. But aside from that, I know there are many resources out there, just anti-bullying organizations that help support those causes in ways that you can just find out more, find out what the signs may be, and how you can do more specifically in your school where your kid is going as well.
Yeah. Now, when you look at let's talk about about foster children. Nobody wants to be without being there with their parent. Circumstances
Mm-hmm.
happen whereby either some are being taken away from their parent due to probably parental problems or violence in the family, and they've been put in foster care. And uh, some lost their parent, and no family members to take care of them. And some because of certain part of behavior, if they continue. So everybody in the foster homes have one story and reason why they were in that place. Now, from other things that I've heard or seen, what we've seen, there are some people that are being put under foster parent, and yet from there that was where their life got even more messed up because they were being abused in that area. So
Mm-hmm.
what is the prospect of you know uh, of being in a foster home?
You said,
What
what's
will
the
be the
process?
advantage? What is the prospect, as in what's the advantage of being in a foster home? You know, is that safe, or is it actually helping other people from being abused too as well?
Right. And that's really just going to depend from home to home, right? Sometimes you have success stories where you have children that may have left a bad situation to come into a foster home where you have great parents or a great family that's going to actually support those children and help them succeed. Other times you do see situations where the abuse continues, or you have people that are just looking to get a check and not really caring about helping raise these children or helping them be aspirational as they grow. So there really is no bright line, I would say. It kind of just depends on which household you're placed in. But for those children who may be in a situation where they're in a foster home where it's not safe, they do have caseworkers that they work with that are appointed through the counties or wherever the foster care is located, and they communicate with those caseworkers periodically. In addition to those caseworkers, they also have the school staff, and as educators, there's a requirement and a duty to report if there's anything that you know of that's going on with the student, whether it's foster or non-foster students. So those are just different outlets where students should go and be encouraged to go and seek advice and seek counseling and let them know what the situation is, and hopefully they can be removed from those homes where there is any situation like that occurring.
Yeah. What would you say? It's okay for foster children that have siblings to be separated on that foster homes. Somebody want to uh, we want to put a foster child family, but in a place whereby they have other siblings, other family members with them, and some people will say, "Oh, I only want one. I don't want all of them." Is it advisable to separate them, to separate those children from their
Mm-hmm.
family? Will it be okay for them to separate them?
I think it's probably best for the kids to stay together, but I know that regarding the resources and what homes are available, usually there's not always going to be a home that can accommodate all the kids. So you see that a lot of times where, one sibling ends up at one house, another is in another house. The best scenario most times is for all of the, siblings to be able to stay together and grow together. And I know that can, be more damaging when you do have that separation, in addition to already being separated, from parents or whatever the case might be.
Okay. So with that, then the another question is just that what is the difference between the foster homes and halfway home? You know, like somebody who
Hmm.
when or somebody we have a halfway home for certain people, and or foster home for certain people. So what's the difference?
Hmm. So foster is when you're talking about children, minors, and that's where they would go when whatever happens to their parents, whether it be parents are deceased, whether it be parents are incarcerated, unable to properly care for the children. When you're talking about halfway homes, those are typically programs in place for people who have either been incarcerated or been, on drugs or alcohol, and this is a step for them to come back into normal society, and it helps them just get rehabilitated. And they oftentimes will have programs um, and different things that they can use to be able to leave that program and then be able to essentially live life back on their own. So usually when you're talking about halfway homes, you're talking about adults, and foster is typically children.
Okay. Okay. So then what will you be your advice to all the youth out there in such a way that they have to that are kind of having inferiority inferiority complex about themselves, based on, being either they have been abused, or they have been intimidated by other people. So which makes some people to lose the interest in something, to become what they should have become in life. But now they are just indifferent about their lives. So what will you say to them, as you know um, as youth, and what what would be your advice to them?
My advice would be that the stage, that they're either in or recently have been in, it's just a part of the story, right? It's just a chapter in the book, but the book's not finished. And it one day will be a testimony, and you just have to keep moving forward. Nothing in life is come simply, that's worth having. So typically you're going to have challenges. For every person, you're dealing with different types of challenges. So definitely you're going to have some people dealing with more serious situations, but that's not the end, right? To just keep going, keep pushing whatever it is that they're wanting to do or wanting to fulfill. Just keep that in mind, right? And don't focus so much on the things that have occurred or the things you're going through now, and just look at that as your focus as you keep moving forward. And just try to get mentors or people around you that encourage you, and try to release those people or get rid of those people who may be toxic or not encouraging or not helping you to move forward.
Okay. What about mentorship?
I think mentorship is important in every aspect. Sometimes you can get assigned, a mentor. I think in every area that I've been in while I was in law school, I definitely had mentors that were already attorneys. So looking for mentors who are in places where you want to be, that's always helpful. In each, the job settings I've been in, I've found someone that I was able to receive mentorship from, not necessarily always an attorney, maybe just another mother, right? I'm a mother as well. So sometimes I look for women who also have children to be mentors in those different aspects of my life. But I would say my primary mentors have been my siblings. I've been fortunate enough to be the youngest of 6 siblings. So I had several people before me who've lived life, in the similar same household that I've been in. So just watching them as I grew up was just a great way for me to learn from their experiences. And also we just have a great, relationship as far as communicating now. So if there's ever any questions or difficulties, things that I'm going through, I oftentimes turn to them, knowing that they're, some trusted advisors that I can always go to and get good advice from.
Mm, okay. Okay. So I think, yeah, we've had it all from you, and that has been a blessing. And one thing that I love so much about that is just that you are a motivator. So whereby people get motivated with what you have seen. And are there been any challenges in your life that you feel that should have pushed you down, but you did not allow that? Instead of that, you turn it inside out, and turn out to be good for you.
Yes, I would say that's almost constant, right? I think always from beginning to end, I think there have been, whether it be friends or teachers at different individuals in different stages in my life, who would say things some people don't even realize that they're saying something that could be hurtful or could be um, just received the way it is. But I think taking those statements and those comments from me, those were always things that kind of pushed me forward, right? Because I wanted to be able to show those people that said otherwise that I can be better than that, right? What they expected. Um, and yeah, I think also just not taking it too seriously. That's probably just something that has been the most helpful, because sometimes you can take certain judgment or certain things that people say, criticism, and it can affect you in the wrong way. And then that takes you, it's longer or harder for you to get back up. But for me, I would kind of just take those things, and I knew not to internalize them. And I knew what I believed and at my core who I was. So those things I would say were helpful in a way.
Thank you so much. And I believe every youth, every young child that's out there, even older ones that are out there, they know that, I mean, there is help out there for them, and there is a way out in every situation you find yourself. You know, um, as the way you are working, you know, I believe, you said something about you just have to let God lead you to as well. So I believe whatever you are doing in life, to everyone that are young, that are old out there, never give up on yourself so that you can achieve what you are called to do. Now, let me ask you this:
Absolutely.
how do you feel the day you the day you are appointed as the deputy city attorney? If I'm a guess, maybe probably in the history, maybe you might be the youngest to first of all to get that position, right?
I'm not sure, but I do know it's still settling in. It's still something that I was very, very, very grateful to have this opportunity, and I think that I'm still realizing that it's real, right? That I'm not a dream. I'm actually here. It's something that I've always wanted to do as far as working with the government, and then just
Wow,
being
we
from the
lost you
city.
again.
I
We need
feel
to
like
hear that
it's
part. We need to hear that part.
oh
You know,
man.
you gotta come back. You have to repeat yourself. Yes.
Oh, sorry about that. I don't
I
know when
can
it cut
still
off.
hear
That was
you.
just saying. It's
Oh
it's
my
it's
God.
really an honor. I think.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying I was honored by the opportunity to be able to work here, and my colleagues are great. It's a great establishment. Typically, people that come into this position are here forever, right, until they retire. And I think that just being able to be from here, the city that raised me, also, and be able to give back in this capacity is just something that I'm very honored to do.
Oh, thank you. And I hope you will. I believe you will succeed in that position by God's grace. And we are all looking forward to see the success in Las Vegas, and to see what God will use you for in the city. Thank you so much for coming. And I believe people have gained from you, and I believe every one of us, we will continue to strive hard in doing what we are called to do. Thank you so much. It's been a very great pleasure to have you right here on this platform. Once again, this is the update. And what did you do before we go during the COVID? What has been your what was your experience during the COVID time?
Huh. My experience. It was challenging, but I was grateful. I think the thing that I wanted to do the most before COVID, when I was working all the time, was spend more time with my son. So for me, I looked at it. It was a blessing, right? Being able to have him there and doing school and me be able to work, but we're still home together, eating lunch together. The things that you typically don't have the opportunity to do when you're busy with everything else. Um, I also was able to, get into the word more and pray more just because there was just so much more time. You cut out the transit time of commuting back and forth to work, and I think it was just like a lot more time that I was able to focus on myself and getting myself in a better position as a person and as a mom. So yeah, aside from that, I gained some pounds, just being in the house and eating a lot more, which I'm working on now.
Yeah. But I thank God, at least COVID is going, we are getting off it little by little, and we hope to get back to a better life as time goes on. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming. And my regards to everyone that is working with you in the city of Las Vegas. Thank God for your life, and we say we stay in touch, and we keep this communication on. And thank you so much for everyone watching. I want to thank you so much because this has been a very, very informative for us at this moment. Thank you so much, Your Honor, uh, my wonderful sister, Crislove Igeleke, the Deputy City Attorney for Las Vegas, Nevada. Look forward to see you again. When next we call you, I hope you will surely answer our call. Thank you, and God
Absolutely.
bless.
Thank you.